Greetings, my fellow freedom love sovereign thinkers. Thank you for tuning in to LL3 Podcast. My name is Craig, transmitting from the beautiful swampy mangroves of South Florida. And today's date is Thursday, June 18th, 2020. Woo, yeah, so a couple things were happening. But before I do, I have to be real critical of what NASCAR and Bubba Wallace has done. It's funny when they all talk about the Confederate flag being abandoned and to use the racial strife and hatred and all that good stuff. However, when you use an organization that is a synthetic movement, I find that is racist, tyrannical. And plus, Mr. Wallace has that peace symbol on there. That represents Nero's cross. Around 64 CE. And a little bit beyond. He wore that when the Christians were being thrown into the lions. That was his entertainment for the crowd. When Rome was burning, they were the scapegoats. I don't mean the Catholic Church, but they were a sect. So, you want to talk about symbol of hate. Explain that, why you have it on your vehicle, Mr. Wallace. Because right there, if you don't know it, if you know it or not, that's hypocrisy. That's why I don't fall for the hype. The 24/7 excuse for everything. It's a shame what happened to George Floyd. A real shame. Yeah, he has rough edges. He was a criminal. You can look it up. You don't need a conservative website to do that. But the socially engineered event, like 9/11, became a 24/7 excuse for everything. Which is the road to tyranny. I was even observing the news about the district attorney for Fulton County got those 2 officers arrested, and murder, life in prison, including a death penalty. The question I have for the council and everyone out there is manifesting over in it. That's a capital offense. Where's the grand jury? He called it felony murder. What constitutes it? If it's a capital murder, should have went to a grand jury in Georgia. I read the booklet on that, by the way, on the grand jury handbook. And even the folks, like the suspect, doesn't have the right to be there. But when it comes to a peace officer, present or former police officer, that's an exception. Something to look at. So, like I said about actions of Mr. Brooks, I've had to watch the video one more time. Made a claim, the DA made a claim he wasn't a threat. When he handcuffed, said you had too much to drink, handcuff you. That's been, that could be vague. See, I know that little game is a vague game. Yeah, he should have said, hey, you're under arrest for driving under the influence of alcohol. Put your hands in the back. There's a couple of flaws on their part, and I say that in good faith. And it would be a long case too. It's not going to happen overnight. If they ramrod this, That would be dangerous for every other suspect or defendant to on having their right for a fair trial. Always something to look at, because I do find this very dangerous, and some people are ready up in arms or take people out, and I don't want to see any collective witch hunting. That's the problem. That will be a burden on all of us, because there's folks from all walks of life within with the consciousness of the body they represent don't like what's going on. So always think that. You got some unethical clowns in these institutions, believe they're smarter than everybody else, but they ramble. They put on a 2-3-piece suit and think they're an entitlement. Well, you know what? I don't buy it. Tyranny does exist within the police department? Absolutely. How they've been a lot of them been infiltrated? Are they agent provocateurs? Yes. With George Floyd riots and all that. I don't call these people violent protesters, but criminals. Because the true protesters want to send a message. And you got the ones that are trying to contaminate space, and they've been stopped constantly. All you got to do is look up these videos. Not the mainstream garbage media. People here don't want to see this nation or their states and communities being held in a handbasket. And I give you the history of the 5 riots that happened in the Miami-Dade County area. Who benefited? No one. Who benefited in Minneapolis? No one. Who suffered the most? A lot. The people in those neighborhoods. Doesn't matter if they're lighter or darker than me. They all got screwed. There's folks out there have businesses. They got shafted as well. So you know what? This is not a race war, but a class war. That's what they're trying to use a race war as an excuse. That's why I'm not afraid to call out these synthetic movements. People are using all these chants. And I decided to watch Chris Geo video on this. Beyond the Veil, him and Sharia Geo on BLM. And it's interesting when you take the vowels out, let's say bellum, prepare for war and all that, makes a lot of sense. So, magic? Yeah. A lesser magic, lesser to greater magic you're seeing right now. Spiritual warfare, my friends. I posted one by Mike Adams about the leftists and the demons, and someone wigged out. I just sent him a comment. I laughed. I love you too. Ain't nothing wrong with that. And even with Ted Deutsch, what happened in Charlton, and technically it was a firearm-free zone. One guy goes, leave your gun at home. Sorry, Mr. French. Prove to me that the police are obligated to protect an individual. You can't. So you know what? Wear your muzzle and have a good day. All right. Well, some of the stuff is happening. I'm going to be talking about a couple of things on my article, and a couple of articles I'm going to be reading. And the one's going to be Jemima, interesting origins. But some Appalachian history made a claim that she wasn't really a slave. But, we'll just read it. You can make your own decisions. It's so funny because the whole thing with that, because we're all accustomed to the term. And now, I read the article after George Floyd's death, it changes everything. Wow. Well, remember, many of us don't like slavery, don't like seeing people be unjustified. Even when it comes to gun control, you got folks out there stating, "Oh, we support licensing." Yeah, they did it to the communities that were Negroes. Of course, of their background, regardless if they're free or not, or they're mulattoes. Yeah. So, I could say you support Jim Crow laws, like Cory Booker. Cory Booker is pro-Jim Crow. Now those other hacks out there. So, I know I'm digressing, but, I gotta let a few things out. Just try to, keep the flow going. Alright, so, first thing we'll be talking about from Mike Adams, or Natural News, came out yesterday. And we will talk about Nancy Green, the first Aunt Jemima. I'd like to thank Pat Stahl for sending me this. Because I posted something about it, and he sent me the history of it, and that's cool. Like I said, sometimes, articles may be inaccurate, there may be some discrepancies, but you know what? If you share something, check it out, boom. And I thank them. I do the same thing. Always share information. That's what I do on my social media sites. Not trying to get brownie points, see how many friends I got. Most of them are my pen pals I network with. There's people I know. Some of us have our disagreements, but it's okay. But we could, as long as we have a healthy discussion, educate one another, and that has always been key. And people hate that. Look what happened to the Rainbow Coalition of 1969. They were a serious threat of the real deal. All right, this is what the Natural News has to say. Which they were banned from Facebook and Twitter. So if you post their link to those mainstream social media sites, they won't post it. All right, it says here, this country is done. Prepare for the most brutal war this world has ever seen. My wife one day last week said to me, you need to write something about all this insanity going on in the world. This just isn't right. My response to her was, what good will writing do? Time for talk is over. This was republished by article by Wes Weiner, republished from ncrenegade.com. I've had so many things that I have wanted to say about things that are going on, but the situation of this country changes from hour to hour. By the time I finish writing this, another insane situation is likely to have happened in this country. We are under attack. This is civil war, revolution, communist takeover is well underway. We are getting punched in the face on a daily basis, and all seems we can do is talk. This country held 3 funerals for a thug who was murdered by a police officer. Yet, for the last few months, people have not been allowed to be with their dying relatives. They have not been allowed to attend funerals, but this episode fits the agenda, so it's okay. 6 city blocks and a police department have been violently taken over in the city of Seattle, and the media is cool with this, calling it for peaceful festival. How do you think that would fly if some good old boys took over a city and tried to restore the Constitution? Mauer 7. Avoid Lichtum. Okay, and even according to one person, claimed the Nazi in drag, Governor Kate Brown, supported it. Okay, it tells you how wicked this individual is. We have governors picking and choosing winners and losers for business and people's livelihood. Marxists across the country are erasing our history as statues fall across the nation. This could go on and on with the offenses against us. We know who the enemy is. Sides are being chosen. I hope you choose wisely. We the people are the enemy of this deep state establishment, and they aim to eradicate us. These attacks on us, on our way of living, will never end. It will never end. They will always hate us. Always. Nothing you can do will change that. Nothing. But more importantly, they will never accept us. They will never accept our views of the world, our ideas, our guns, and our religion. We are a very different people from these commies on the left and those who would like to see this country fall. We value the individual. We value free thought, free speech, free religion. We value freedom. They hate us for it. They aim to rule us, and we will not be ruled by them. They will never give up their quest to implement socialism, communism. In other words, my friends, tyranny. They never quit, they'll never stop. We, the people, are the enemy. It says that it has come to this here in the land of the free, but we are no longer free. We are going to have to fight for the freedom that we each want. This great experiment called America has been passed away, and we're going to have to fight for our children and grandchildren's future. This burden should not be passed on to them. I really don't know what else to say. I apologize for not writing anything lately, and I feel as though over the last how many years I have said all that can be said, but I keep getting drawn back to give the voice to those who are afraid or unwilling to speak out. This country is done. Pick your side. Choose wisely. Prepare for the most brutal war that this world has ever seen. It's coming. I don't think anything stops it now. Hopefully we can set things right if we win, or at least die trying. Yeah, you can read more at the ncrenegade.com. Vigilance is the key to liberty, folks. People take too much things for granted. They let the government education system tell our kids how to think and wipe our rear ends, and you got these same dimwits that can't even tie their own shoelaces and doing the same. You can use the Democrats and Republicans all you want, because a lot of them, they got a lot of tyrants on both sides. The faction game, the junta club. We got natural rights, and there's a damn thing they can do about it. They believe they're going to tell us how to live and how to think. Forget it. They've been training us like Pavlov's dogs. It's been the most obvious since 9/11. The road to tyranny. Yeah, I was telling people for the past 18 years, it was a new world order agenda. And now look what's happening. Everyone uses those terms, white privilege. The people who are like critical on their movement, oh, white privilege, yeah. They're trying to give everyone a guilt trip. All mind control, but folks. Many of you are buying it. You're a bunch of fools. People are posting it, trying to this guilt for what you look like. You're a bunch of fools. You're being like peasants. From both sides. The victim's game. That's for the weak and the pathetic. And now they're all out here believing that they're entitlements. Trophy kids. The world should revolve around them. You know what? That don't work. If you know about the might is right, you don't know a damn thing about that. There's folks from all walks of life, regardless of their creed, are not ready to take you on and have your blood be soaked in the tree of liberty. Remember one thing, folks, a little rebellion now and then is good. Thomas Jefferson. Is it, like I've been saying before, it's nothing more than an NWO coup. Many of us are attesting it, especially Sibel Evans from Newsbuzz, which I'm a member of. Check her out. Tell her Look that endorses it. Endorse her. Even Chris Ann Hall. Educational show. People should be listening to that more than what the idiots on TV has to say. The idiot box. Or who's banging who's getting married. So what? It's always good to have entertainment, but if you let everything else absorb you, wear the shackles and chains, you just became a slave. Everyone's been a victim of tyranny one way or the other. There's no privilege. Not at all. Being vigilant and being ready? Yeah. Hey, I'm ready to go myself. But one thing I know for sure, certain states are not going to be playing around. South Dakota, they stopped pretty damn quick. Got to give the governor kudos for that. In the town in Idaho, all the folks are ready to go. Men, women, protesters that were there loved it because they didn't want any trouble. They want to send a message out of love, not out of malice or animosity towards innocent people. It's like what's going on in Seattle. Hey, there's at least 10,000 trucks are not going to ship stuff over there. Hopefully you guys can know about agriculture and get your water. In due time, it won't last. It'll backfire. You could be charged for treason. Not my fault if you got a bunch of cowardly people in Seattle. The mayor of Seattle and the governor of Washington, Huey and Dewey. It's all going to backfire, folks. Bottom line is, the New World Order will fail. I'll say long view, out of respect. I'm not here to hype anything up. Because human nature is a lot more complex than what we know. And the universal cosmos, cosmic universe, has a lot of great power. Alright, I'm going to do one more here. I'd like to thank Pat Stahl for this one. Band called Shakers, punk rock, pop, fun party punk rock band from Margate. Yeah, kudos to you guys. I love you. About Nancy Green, the first Jemima. Oh, I posted something and he sent me this, which is about Nancy Green. There's just some discrepancies in that post, but it's from the Appalachian history. Nancy Green, the first Jemima. It was posted by David Tabler. It came out on March 1st, 2017. So it's archive, but it's fun to check it out. Nancy Green, from 1834 to 1923, former slave from Mount Sterling, Kentucky, moved to Chicago after the Civil War. Well, I should call it the War and the Rebellion. Where she went up to become one of the first African-American models employed by an American company to promote a product. Green was the first person to portray character Aunt Jemima. The concept and backstory for the character had already been carefully scripted by Charles Rutt and Chris Underwood, founders in 1889 of the Pearl Milling Company. They created America's first ready-mixed pancake flour, and a year later registered by the Aunt Jemima trademark and renamed the company Aunt Jemima Manufacturing Company. In 1893, they sold the Aunt Jemima Manufacturing Company to R.T. Davis Milling Company. Nancy Green first appeared to the public at the same year, presenting R.T. Davis Milling Company pancake mix at the Columbian Exposition, aka Chicago's World's Fair. Before trying out for the Aunt Jemima role, she had been working as a domestic for the Walker family, whose children grew up to become Chicago Circuit Judge Charles M. Walker and Dr. Samuel Walker. Her Aunt Jemima was a hit. Her exhibition booth drew as many people that special policemen were assigned to keep the crowds moving, says her bio on the African American Registry. The Davis Milling Company received over 50,000 orders, and fair officials awarded Nancy Green a medal and certificate for her showmanship. The Milling Company proclaimed Green the Pancake Queen and signed her to a lifetime contract, which she honored until death in 1923. Green's ongoing presence, combined with the sophisticated marketing machine behind her, made such a lasting public impact that the company was renamed Aunt Jemima Mills Company in 1914. Green's employers sought to merge her personal history that of the fictional Mammy. Though the two couldn't have been more different, it worked, and it worked. The Sunday Morning Star, in its 1923 obituary for her, described her young Charles and Samuel Walker, spread her fame among their boy chums, and before long, Aunt Jemima pancakes became a common phrase in Chicago, which good things to eat were discussed. A milling concerned heard of her, searched her out, obtained her recipe, and induced her to make pancakes at the World's Fair. Now perhaps the boys wax enthusiastic shout Nancy Green's pancakes through that phrase was certainly not the common one used throughout Chicago. When good things to eat were discussed, Nancy Green never created pancakes as Aunt Jemima when she was a domestic at the Walkers. Also, Pearl Milling Company had formulated their ready-mixed pancake formula long before they ever hired Green. They didn't need her recipe. At the Chicago's World Columbian Exposition, visitors walk along a path between several of the fair buildings towards a domed building. Photos, Smithsonian Institute Archives. So there's photos here. Alright, so let's keep on going. The real Green, for her part, was one of the first African American missionary workers and an organizer at the Oblate Baptist Church, one of the largest 9,000 plus members African American churches in Chicago. She used her satire as a spokeswoman to advocate and anti-poverty issues and equal rights in Chicago. It was interesting. It's a fictional thing, but it's a good message. So you always gotta admire that. So I always appreciate this stuff here. Aunt Jemima's success, says Kimberly Wallace Saunders, in Memory, Century of Race, Gender, and Southern Memory, was predicated upon a fascinating interweaving of commerce, memory, and racial nostalgia that served as a vehicle for post-Civil War national consolidation. The War and Rebellion. Okay, I'm not. Hey, if you really study this stuff, trust me, you see things in a different way. Aunt Jemima was created to celebrate the state of art technology through a pancake mix. She did not celebrate the promise of post-emancipation progress for African Americans. Aunt Jemima's freedom was negated in this role because of the character's persona as a plantation slave, not a free black woman employed as a domestic. An African American woman pretending to be a slave was a pivotal to the trademark's commercial achievement in 1893. Its success revolved around the fantasy of a returning black woman to a sanitized version of slavery. Aunt Jemima character involved regression of race relations, and her character helped usher a prominent, Hold on here, I goofed up here. Oh, sorry about that. An African American woman pretending to be a slave was a pivotal to the trademark's commercial achievement in 1893. Its success revolved around fantasy and returning of a black woman to a sanitized version of slavery. The Aunt Jemima character involved a regression of race relations, and her character helped usher in a prominent resurgence of the happy slave mythology of the independent South. It's interesting about that because I did talk about, I share stuff on my Facebook and Twitter page, even with the Blacks of Confederacy. It's always good to know these things too. It's very interesting. All right, but you know how it is. Sometimes the victors like to write the history books. But I'll just continue on here. Nancy Green was a middle-aged woman living in the south side of Chicago, working in a working a cook and housekeeper for a prominent judge. And after a series of auditions, she was hired to cook and serve the new pancake recipe at the World's Fair. Part of her act was to tell stories from her own early slave life-along plantation tales about Aunt Jemima's New Orleans childhood, written for her by a white Southern sales representative. The Aunt Jemima trademark was constructed as part of the budding concept of an African-American dream for the American family. After one year after the fair, the R.T. Davis Milling Company introduced the Aunt Jemima paper doll family, 5 dolls that could be out from the pancake box. Aunt Jemima paper doll family was one of the most popular company premiums. Collectors still prize a complete set over industrial dolls. This popular recreation of African American women life stood in direct opposition to the efforts of real African American women struggling to publicly assert their citizenship. As a symbol of racial harmony, Aunt Jemima proved to be the preferred version of the African American womanhood on exaltation of hypocrisy, nostalgia. Yeah, interesting, good little story here. I'd like to thank Pat for that, man, for sharing that. That's why, when people send me stuff, and hey, check this out, or if the information you post has a discrepancy, that's cool, and always, as long as it's good information for Appalachian history, observe responsibly, folks, like everything else, which I'm always good at, even on my show, because I don't have all the answers myself, and I admit that. Still learning. Why not? You should too. It's always good to be the student and the rabbi, right? So it's interesting. That's why people say it was like racial overtones, but there's a good history about this, of unlocking that, freeing it. Maybe a fictional character, but remember, there's some merit behind it too. Like Gangs of New York. The book was movie was based on a fictional novel, but based on historical facts. So it's pretty cool, and hey, I don't believe changing the name because it has a unique history in it, even though it was a sales pitch, but it's a good message. What they put out, liberating a particular group. So that, to me, that's pretty damn essential. So if people get sensitive over little things like that, just tell them to stick it, man. The trophy kids and all that. So, all these glamboyancy is not my thing. I want the world to revolve around me. I'm so special. Well, I'm not. I'm just a unemployed stagehand right now, but still doing the show and still productive. So no complaints by me, and I'm not here to talk about my problems because we all have them right now. So that is it. I thank everyone for listening. Plus, feel free to download and share throughout your social media networks. If you have any questions, comments, or be something that's interesting I want to check out, whatever you do, please share your correspondence with decorum. Furthermore, I'll leave the footnotes on my Spreaker page. If you want to donate, you can hit me at paypal.me/LokiLuck number 3. Once again, thank you for your time. Let's always remember that demoniac resistance is healthy for the soul and can liberate humanity. Until next time, take care of yourselves, keep on spreading the love, and may your guardian spirits be with you.